Please welcome Michael Kammes.
Thank you, Michael. I'm going to give you a deluge of information on what can be done today with AI. I'm going to give you some examples. I'm not going to talk about product names that much. Why? Because some of them will be gone in 6 months. And as Philip said, there'll be something iterative and something new down the road that these products may not be around. So I just want to show you what they can do today, and then if we have time, I'll show you how to roll your own AI. All right? So let's get started. And I'll be bouncing back and forth between presentation and video as well. So try to keep up. So does anyone know who this is? Nobel. Alfred Nobel, Nobel Prize. You know what he invented, right? You know what his big claim to fame was? Dynamite. You've heard what he said, right? My dynamite will sooner lead to peace than 1,000 world conventions. As soon as men will find that in one instant, whose armies can be utterly destroyed, they surely will abide by the golden peace. The reason I bring this up is you'd consider him to be an expert on TNT, right? He invented it. He's an expert. My point is that we are all learning. A lot of us haven't done this as long as Philip. Philip is the closest thing I'd see to an expert, but all of us are learning. And for someone to say, well, I'm an expert in all things AI, no. The people that invented the internet could not have foreseen what the internet has done for us today. We don't know where it's going. We can only hold on tight and hope we don't fall off the roller coaster. And that's why I love this comic right here. The fastest things on Earth, a cheetah, an airplane, the speed of light, and people becoming experts in AI. So as I said, that's where we are right now. If you think about it, the big marketing juggernaut that came out at the end of last year, OpenAI and ChatGPT, that's only been in the public discourse for 6 months. And we now have a complete cottage industry. As Philip pointed out, even on Fiverr, there's a whole category just for people who do AI. So this is only going to continue to grow. So while we jump, let's jump into some examples. If any of you have used the website Hugging Face, right? No? It's okay. I sound like I know what I'm talking about. Hugging Face is a repository for data sets and models. Models are what are used to create that AI that does that one little thing. And Hugging Face does a great job of organizing these. You'll see at the top we have things like text to image, right, which Philip showed a little bit. We have computer vision, which is actually analyzing the frame of the video and seeing what's in it. Text to speech, cloning someone's voice, like we saw with Val Kilmer in Maverick. So the things I'm going to show you today, it's going to take forever for me to show all of these, so I've only picked 4. We're going to do text to image, which is going to be more text to video than anything else. We're going to do text to speech. We're going to voice clone Mr. Horton's voice over there. We're going to do computer vision, where I'm going to show you the future of finding media. I will stake my reputation on this. This is the future of all of you editors will be using to find content. And then I'm going to show you editing. And I'm using air quotes, and I hate to be the guy that uses air quotes, but I'm going to show you auto editing. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is text to image or video. This is a website I'm using called Kyber.ai. Again, there's plenty of others that do that. You all know this guy, right? That's Michael Horton. This is a video I scammed off YouTube. All right, do as I say, don't do as I do. Don't steal things off YouTube. So I'm just going to play a little bit of this so you can kind of hear what Michael Horton sounds like.
We officially changed our names. Now, for those of you who are longtime Lacpug,
okay, just a short clip, right? So what I did then is I ran this through a Kyber.ai, and I said, I want you to take this video, make it a young man talking to 100 people in the crowd. The people are not that far away because I want to see their faces, and they should be happy. And I want you to make this in the style of a photo taken on film, right? So I'm just going to hit play here.
We officially changed our names. Now, for those of you who are longtime Lacpug,
that was free. I did that free. Obviously, this is not what they would call broadcast quality, but as Philip said, 6 months. right? And imagine if I went and it was what we call a prompt jockey and really fleshed out this prompt, and I paid for it. We could get something that would be HD, 4K, 8K quality. And there goes the B-roll that you need for your documentary, right? So this is possible right now, and if you spent more time on it, you'd be able to get something this easy. So, in fact, what I could do briefly is jump to the web page. Here are my videos. All I did was upload a video. I typed in the prompt.
We officially changed.
I then hit generate video. It generated this in 30 seconds. Done. I could have done a longer clip, but it's free. But this is something you can do to create that B-roll that you don't have, or as Philip pointed out, storyboarding. Let's jump back to Keynote. Okay, this is my favorite one. In fact, we're talking about this on the Stump the Gurus. Speech cloning. I'm not going to get into the legalities of this because there are legalities to this. In fact, I learned from Deborah, actually, that the voice can be, your voice and likeness, as I understand it, and please correct me if I'm wrong, the lawyers in the audience, can actually be with your estate and travel after death to your children. Is that correct? Yes. So that means anyone that licenses their voice, it's with their estate, that's then reoccurring revenue for their kids. It's great. So I'm using a website called 11labs.com. Here's Michael again.
We officially changed our names. Now, for those of you who are longtime Lacpug.
Listen to this.
The next Lacpug meet will be Wednesday, May 24th, and we intend to devote the entire night to artificial intelligence, AI. We hope to cover most of what you need to know, examples of what you need to see, and not scare the crap out of you in the process. Despite all you know about AI, you really don't know enough. So let's learn together. Plus Stump the Gurus and world famous raffle.
So that costs $3 for a month. So, and I'll show you how that was done. If I jump over to 11 Labs right now, I can sign up. I can use what they call speech synthesis, voice lab. I can add a voice. In this case, I took that same YouTube video of you talking, Michael. I then downloaded the MP3. Again, don't rip things off YouTube. I took that MP3, I uploaded it, and then I said create an instant voice clone. And then I simply went in and, where is it? There it is. I then want to use that, and I can type whatever I want. Someone give me a phrase. Keep it clean.
Disneyland is awesome.
Disneyland is awesome. Okay. Okay. If you've got the money. Okay. All right. So let's see what Michael sounds like doing this.
Disneyland is awesome if you've got the money.
So what this lacks, obviously, is the dramatic reading, right? If I want Michael to have some inflection on the word Disney, if I want to have a pause in there. But for those of you who are doing Frankenbites, for those of you who may have recorded audio on location and damn it, a car went by and there was a horn, or if you're like me and you're from Chicago and that damn L train comes by and ruins the entire take of dialogue, you now can go in and Frankenbite that line, right? So we'll now jump back in. You don't, well, and that's someone, for those who didn't hear, you don't have to Frankenbite. But there are news organizations, right, that say you can't even use it to recreate what someone has said. Let that sink in for a minute, right? You have to do a Frankenbite. Well, A, if they allow you to do Frankenbites, because a lot of time that goes against standards and practices, or their standards. But a lot of times you're not allowed to do something like that. So the water is really muddy right now in terms of when this can be used.
The next Lacpug meet will be Wednesday.
All right. Okay, so I just went over that. Next, we're going to look at computer vision. Computer vision encompasses a lot of things, but this is what I foresee as what you will have in all of your video editors at one point. I know that's a lofty goal, but this looks like a Google page, doesn't it? Sven, raise your hand. Where's Sven? There's Sven. Everyone knows Sven, right? He was up here, Stump the Gurus. I did a video with Sven, and we talked about a lot of things. I want to search for Sven. I want to see his face. I want to hear when his name is used. So I'm going to type in the word Sven. Oh, a video pops up. Let's see what's in that video. I now can see when Sven shows up in the video. I can see when I show up in the video. I can also go in and say, what kind of known graphics are there? Well, we didn't see any logos, but if I go up to this area here, and I'm sorry, I'm kind of constrained with real estate, I can see that hardware appears in 79% of the video. Glasses appear in 89% of the video. I can even go deeper into tags and descriptions, and if I just randomly jump to a point in time, a man standing in front of a desk with a computer and a keyboard. Let's click on that. That's a man standing in front of a desk with a computer and a keyboard. Does everyone see that? So imagine going into your NLE, and instead of looking for, what folder is that in? Day one? What take was that? I now can say, when the main character is outside drinking a can of Coke, who's happy sitting on a bench, that's the shot I want. Right? So someone give me another word. Let's look for something else. Hat? Okay. Let's take a look at hat. Looks like we have Shawshank Redemption, because I know, I was looking for a film that everyone would know. I thought this would work, so let's click on here, and if I hit play, or
Your files, where are you getting these from?
these are just, don't do as I say, don't do as I do. These are downloaded from YouTube.
So the Sven video was on YouTube?
I put it on YouTube, but I had the master file, yeah.
But this is a closed system. So the Shawshank video is one that you have in a closed system. You're not searching in a database.
I can add any media I want to this.
But it's not like going to YouTube.
No.
and finding it's got it.
No, and that's, especially when this gets used on the enterprise level, you don't want it going out to the internet, right? You want to search everything that's on premises and nowhere else. But let's see, we typed the word hat. Let's go to speech to text. I now have auto captions here for hat. Let's click on this, and oh, they're wearing a hat. Here's the cool thing, and hopefully I won't get in trouble for this, but how many of you work in animation? No one? I do? Okay. So, you watch Archer? Oh, okay. I happen to find the best of Archer, season 7. And if I go over here to my people and faces, let's look up Archer. Didn't find that. Hang on. Let's go to people and faces. Oh, didn't find that either. Okay, well, that didn't work well. What it normally finds is it will recognize animated faces as being a face as well. The other thing that's really cool about this is not everyone is a celebrity, right? I'm certainly not. So when you see unknown people, instead of training the model on 100 different images of one person, I can go in fact, here, this is from GTA 5, I can go in here and say, who knows what this character's name is? Okay, thank you. I don't know. Okay, so I say Trevor, and I hit save. Now every time Trevor shows up, boom, now I know who Trevor is. I don't have to train it. It matches all the faces automatically. Just take that in. I firmly believe this is the future of finding media inside your NLE, as well as finding like B-roll. I want to move on. Is that okay, or do someone have questions? How much you want to pay? It's GPU based right now. It can run in the cloud. The machine that runs it, I think, is only $4 or $5 an hour. Can you imagine your facility investing in this and having it scan your 200 terabytes of data, and then you can find everything you could ever want instead of going recursively through folders or doing asset management by OS, right? Where you do your Apple F and you search for something and hope to God that that name is in the file name or folder. Okay, so moving forward. This is auto editing. And I'm using air quotes because you're going to laugh when you see this, but from a starting point, it's not bad. I'm going to escape out of this. I'm going to jump into Premiere. Okay, so you can see right here, there's nothing up my sleeves. I've put 2 tracks here. I've got actually 1 camera. I'm faking a 2-camera interview. I've got 1 angle here, the wide shot here. Let's actually mute this or turn that off. So this is 1 camera angle that I've put on 2 tracks. I've zoomed in on one of them, so it's a close-up of me. The other one is a close-up on Mark, who I'm talking to. And then I've put the isolated audio tracks at the bottom here, right? I've now gone up to Window, Extensions. We'll go to Multi-Camera Editor. I can then say, hey, how do I want to cut this? Do I want a lot of cuts? Do I only want a little bit of cuts? Do I want jump cut seizure? I can say how many speakers I want, if there's more people in the interview, how many cameras there were, and I can also say what the speaker names are. And then I hit, we'll tag this as Mark. I then hit Create Multicam Edit. It is now going to create an edit on the fly and cut to the person who's talking. So, yeah, hey, jump somebody else in the parking lot, not me, man. I'm the messenger. I'm the messenger here. But if I go to here, for example, let's just play this a bit, and you'll see how rudimentary it is, right? As someone said, computers have no soul. Granted, this is a boring interview, but it has no soul. To be updated.
No, you try and prove
To justify.
that a cloud-based workflow would be a good idea. I would like to put that to bed. That is not true.
If you had that kind of power,
yeah,
I'd like to talk to you after this interview.
No, so the pandemic.
It did the cuts. How many of you have to go through a boring Zoom recording, right? Oh, I know, it hurts. Or have to take a 1-camera interview and make it somewhat exciting. I now have done 3/4 of the work where I can go in now and massage and hold something for a reaction shot, right? Or massage the audio. I don't have to go through and do this on the fly. What I can also do, which is pretty cool, is there's also something called just a jump cut, which I know all of you are groaning right now, but there's a jump cut editor. So, how many of you do vlogs? You can admit it. It's fine. Okay, so one of the styles for vlogs are jump cuts, right? You cut out the ums, the uhs, you cut out all the pauses. What if you monologued to the camera and wanted to cut all those out? Okay. I did that here. Let me just get this to a place where I can show this. What I simply did is I went to Extensions, I went to Jump Cut Editor, and then I told it, after it lets me log in, all it's doing is looking for silence. If there's silence, oh, I'm probably going to have to cut soon because the audio is about to jump up. Is that really AI? Well, yeah, it is, but it's not rocket science. So when I hit Create Jump Cuts, it will generate things like this. Mark Turner of Movie Labs. Mark, thanks for joining us today. Excellent. So, Movie Labs, there's been a lot of buzz about it. I'd like for folks, the uninitiated folk, to kind of understand what Movie Labs. Can you explain to our folks out there what? Instant jump cuts. And imagine if you were doing this when you weren't on a show floor with 65,000 people, where you had a quiet room where you could accurately make those cuts without having to deal with background noise. Cool? All right. There's also something else, another tool that's interesting. It's called Memento. Memento is a way to take existing content and automatically cut it down for social media. So if I go to Memento right here, I happen to see a video I did with Sven. We'll bring that video up. It will, once you ingest the video, it will transcribe it. It will then also use AI to find segments which are interesting. Like, for example, Sven, you and I talked about why you chose a laptop over a desktop, right? I think your words were, years ago, I made the decision to move from a desktop to a laptop. It read this footage, read this auto transcript, realized it was important and said, you know what? I can create a video out of this. So I hit Create Video. I can then pick a template, right? Let's find maybe simple frames, just so we don't get seizures out of this. Maybe we'll use that template. Come on. And the video should pop in here. It's not. Let's go back to segments and see why it's not populating. It's going a little bit slow. But what this will do is reframe this section of video. Let's try this again. Sorry about that. Let's do that. Let's try to create this, try to select that. Let's do create video, create segment. There we go, that should do it. When this loads up, it'll take the segment that I've highlighted, it'll make that into captions, and then also reformat the video to have that section of video where Sven is talking about it, you can see into something you could share on social media. So this should have done it. I'm not sure what the slowdown is here. Let's try that again. Yeah, it could be. AI is tired, I guess. But what this does is it generates, there it is. So there's one. There we go. So here's one that automatically was created. On this episode of What's in Your Bay, we're talking to this guy, Sven Pape, indie doc and feature editor, and nearly 1 million subscribers on YouTube. No, it's 500,000.
500,000.
500,000.
But I won't stop until it's 1 million.
So, but what I can do, I can certainly go in here and say, yeah, I'm going to move the video around a bit, right? So let's find where the video is, general exposition. There we go. Done. It's already generated a title, already generated captions. It's already got the text on the left-hand side. You can push this to any social media account you want. So will this take your job? Do you want to cut this? Right? I'm guessing your list of deliverables is just getting bigger and bigger, right? It used to be the HD version, and now it's you need a 9x16, now you need a 1x1. This can reframe all of that. How are we doing on time, Michael? It's just locking this in, yeah. Okay, yeah, there's a fine line between what you can do in a web browser and keyframing, right? What you can do is certainly go back and alter the script, right, which will then edit the video, kind of like what Lumberjack is doing with using text to edit video. I can certainly take that out, and then you get the jump cut. But at some point, you have to be like, do this in the editor, you know? But give it 6 months, who knows? I think this interface is ugly as hell, and so I hope someone improves on it. So who here wants to know how to create their own AI? Is that yes? Okay. All right, so let's jump back into this. Because it's an assistant. So, quick overview. When you are creating a model, what you're doing is you're taking data, appropriate data, you're cleaning it, you're then training a model, you're then making this available inside a web page or some kind of user interface. It then learns, it continually learns. And then you fine-tune the model by giving it better data and getting rid of old data. This can be done by other people, or you could do it. And here are the tools you need to do that. First off, you need a computer, obviously. You're going to spend a lot of money on a GPU, 12 gigs or more, right? So we're talking, if you want to get really nerdy, the NVIDIA 480s or 490s are great. I have a 470. It's okay. You're going to need Windows, Linux, sometimes Mac OS, usually Windows or Linux. If you can code in Python, even better. If you don't want to code in Python, then just take a picture of these links right here. One is Ooga Booga. It is a web interface that will read a model that you can download, and I'll show you how to do that. And then you can ask questions like ChatGPT, only it runs totally local. So you're not paying for API tokens for ChatGPT, but because it requires so much memory, you need a higher-end computer. And if you want to do text to image, that's where the Stable Diffusion interface comes into play. Some of the things, what I also brought up was, where do I get data sets and models, right? Data sets are cleaned data that you can use then to train your model. Remember, we're at the very top right here. There are some milestones and questions that we don't have answers to, and this will determine the fate of AI in our industry and the world. First is the legality of source data sets and model manipulation. If you use a model to manipulate your video, Michael, is that legal? You know, that's served for people with more initials after their name than mine. It's not something I can answer. Regulation. Is Congress going to regulate AI? Is Congress going to regulate, are other countries going to regulate AI? There is inherent bias, right? If you're training on a model set that features a lot of white men, it's not going to be good at recognizing faces from people of color, right? You need a clean sample set. And that comes down to clean and dirty sample data sets. For example, what if I'm writing a book about the Unabomber? Okay? You probably want to know a little bit about bomb making, right? If you were to ask ChatGPT, how do I make a bomb? It will say, I can't tell you that. So the data that is cleansed out of these data sets may prevent you from exploring what you want to create. And so a lot of the models out there are with clean data sets. So you have to be very careful what model sets you're using. We're also going to see a run on privatized data sets, right? I wouldn't be surprised if a GitHub or someone else says, well, you know what? This is our great data, you can't have it. And when all those websites start getting locked down where you can't scrape it for data, where do you get data to trade things? So we'll start to see a almost rental business of here's my models that I've built or my data sets based on this coding language or this artist. And if you want to use it, you have to rent it. What I think is going to be the biggest change is all of us, you know, we're not fans of subscriptions, right? We know it's not going away, but we're all paying subscriptions for everything, whether it's on demand, whether it's software. And when you're using models, you're using the cloud, right? When we can localize these models, where we can use them for 1 hour a day or 24 hours a day and pay the same price, that's when things are going to get nuts. Because you no longer have to worry about how many API calls am I making? How many times am I hitting send on this message in ChatGPT? Will it eat into those 25 responses I have in the next 4 hours? We also have, and this is the one thing that keeps me up at night, is deepfakes, face swaps, and voice cloning. Not going to get into politics, but politically, here and around the world, being able to clone someone's face, put someone else's face on it, being able to change their voice, which we did inside 10 seconds, there's going to be people who can't tell the difference. And that's going to be extraordinarily difficult to overcome for everything, not just politics. So something we have to be really careful of. I'll leave you with this quote. This is by Phil Libin, who I believe is the founder of Evernote, if I'm not mistaken. He said, AI won't replace any humans. Humans, AI will. So learn AI because you're going to need it in your job moving forward, because there has never been a technology in our industry that is as big as AI. SD to HD, how does that help someone working in an office using Excel? It doesn't. But AI will be in every single business unit, in every single vertical in this entire world. And we're at the beginning of this. So with that being said, I'm going to leave you with another Chicagoan. Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it. Thank you.